Hello, everybody. Welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World, and a very happy hump day to all of my friends. Hope you all are having a fantastic day as we get ready to bust out our fantasy football rankings for week number 3, as we're almost a quarter away through the National Football League season already. I'm, of course, your host, David On Point Huffin. Right there is my co-host, Mr. Israel Rivera. Welcome into the show, my friend. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast as we bring you content 365, 24/7. And on today's show, as I mentioned, week 3 fantasy football rankings. Izzy, how'd you do in fantasy this week?
I only won one game. Only won one. No, I went 2-2. I went 2-2. I'm sorry. Went 2-2. Well, one win in our league and one win in the name I may not say.
I think I went 3-2 this week. I had a real tough loss. I have Nick Chubb in a couple leagues, so that was tough. Things work out that way. But welcome to week number 3 as we get right into it. Also, I said that Josh Allen would be the highest scoring fantasy player. I think he might have been last week. I'm going to look that up in a second, but let's get right into it. Let's talk about our quarterback positions, those gunslingers. And I got my number 1. I'm riding the train, my friend. I'm sticking with Josh Allen as my number 1 quarterback. 2, I got Justin Herbert. 3, Patrick Mahomes. I may be super wrong about that. Patrick Mahomes may cover up those Chicago Bears, but I am expecting the Chiefs to get up early, and maybe they shut down Patrick Mahomes a little bit early in that game. 4, Kirk Cousins. Look for him to have a good game there. I think it's a Chargers team that can be gotten through the air with Justin Jefferson there. 5, Jalen Hurts. 6, Lamar Jackson. 7, Trevor Lawrence. 8, Geno Smith. High on him this week. I think Seattle continues to flex on their offense. Tua Tagovailoa is number 9 with the Miami Dolphins, one of my locks of the week. And 10, I got Dak Prescott. I think the Dallas Cowboys have been rolling. They're playing against the Arizona Cardinals. Look for him to have a big game there. And then my outside looking in, I got Justin Fields at number 11. He's fallen every single week I've done these rankings. I just haven't liked what I've seen out of him, and I haven't liked what I've seen out of this offense. The Bears are in a sticky spot. 2, Matthew Stafford, Los Angeles Rams. They've been really cooking on offense, going up against a bad Cincinnati Bengals defense. And then number 3, Brock Purdy. I know they don't ask him to do a whole lot as a member of the San Francisco 49ers, but I think they're going to need him to play pretty well to win that game. So we look for San Francisco to turn it up a little bit against the Giants. And then my sneaky and daily is Geno Smith at 5,700. To be honest with you, there aren't that many good options in daily with the prices of quarterbacks this week. Geno Smith, pretty solid option at 5,700, as I do think they will be throwing the football a lot. So.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head, man. There's not a lot of great cheap options in daily fantasy this week. But you could still rock with a cheap option that will move the needle for you. Where you can put other places, just like every other week. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to stack your quarterback and then stack every other.
Dan Jones was actually the number 1 scorer in fantasy last week.
I was just about to say, man, like Daniel Jones, man, had a couple rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, he had.
He was phenomenal. Yeah, he was phenomenal last week.
30 fantasy points. Josh Allen was number 6, rounding up the top. This is just quarterbacks. Hold on, all offensive player. 1 second. Keenan Allen, actually, the number 1 scorer in fantasy last week with 31 points. So,
absolutely, that's great.
And your boy Puka Nacua, number 3 in terms of PPR scoring.
He would have been number 1 if he could just get a touchdown.
If
he could just get a touchdown, he'll be number 1. So my number 1's Patrick Mahomes, man. Obviously, he's going against the Chicago Bears. Baker Mayfield, he looked like an all-pro against the Chicago Bears defense. And then I expect, with the news of their DC resigning, I don't expect that defense to be on the same page once again this week. So Patrick Mahomes, my number 1 quarterback.
I will say with that situation, he was already kind of away from the football team for the last 2 weeks. Because Matt Eberflus has been calling the plays on defense for the last 2 weeks. So I'm not sure how much of an impact it's actually going to have. It may be just an extremely big distraction. Probably why the defense hasn't played all that well. Make an excuse there, but yeah, they haven't played well because their defensive coordinator is probably going to go to prison. So
Oh my God! Well, we don't know those. Anyways, at number 2, I got Justin Herbert. Number 3, Trevor Lawrence. At number 4, yes, Josh Allen going against Washington. I haven't really been impressed with that Washington defense so far this year. But I do believe that Josh Allen, they are playing on the road, but I do believe Josh Allen could be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this week. And number 5, I got Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts going. I mean, honestly, a lot of people, probably got him in the top 3, top 2. I got him at number 5. I got him dropping a little bit. That Tampa Bay defense is tough, man. They're the nucleus of that team.
And let's not pretend like the Philadelphia Eagles have been a juggernaut on offense this season. They have not been. Like they played against they've played a bad Minnesota Vikings defense, and Jalen Hurts didn't put up crazy numbers. And then they played the week before that. They played a bad Patriots. Oh, the defense of the Patriots is pretty decent, but the secondary in
do you think with what's his name? The big boy, the nose tackle. What's his name? Vita Vea.
Vita Vea.
Do you think with Vita Vea in the middle there, do you think that Jalen Hurts is going to convert those quarterback sneaks this week?
Yes. Yeah.
You think so?
I don't care who they have at nose tackle. They're converting that no matter what.
All right. At number 6, I got Lamar Jackson, guys. Number 7, I got Tua Tagovailoa. Number 8, Kirk Cousins. That should be a shootout going up against the Chargers. I expect a ton of points from there. At number 9, I got Dakota Prescott. Yeah, going up against Arizona. He might be higher when it's all said and done. And then rounding out my top 10, I got Justin Fields, one slot higher. I still think he's a top 10 quarterback just because of his legs this week. I think
they haven't been utilizing they have been utilizing his rushing ability.
He only had last week.
He only had 3 rush attempts the whole game last week. I have not liked what they're doing with him on offense.
That's all Luke Getsy. He might be, throwing the games for the Green Bay Packers. No, I'm just playing. But I think Justin Fields, he still had a touchdown last week on the ground. So I still think as long as he can get it to a touchdown on the ground, he's still viable. Top 10
I think it keeps his floor relatively high. I'm just not sure what his ceiling is right now. It just doesn't seem like he has that like those explosive plays that we were seeing last year that he was kind of got known for that made him such a fantasy darling last year.
They got to get back to that. And then outside looking in, I got Geno Smith. Love what I saw out of Geno Smith. I think he should take advantage of that Carolina team, young Carolina team. Jared Goff and Brock Purdy,
especially since Shaq Thompson broke his leg in that game on Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
he's not going to play in this game. He's the best edge rusher on the team, outside of Brian Burns, obviously. I think he's still holding out.
Brock Purdy just plays point guard. He plays John Stockton for the San Francisco 49ers. They don't need him to score. They just need him to distribute the ball, and that's what he does well. He may be without Brandon Ayuk this Thursday, so we'll keep everything posted. I know we do something Thursday. I'm doing the College Football Showdown Thursday, so I might keep everybody posted on that. But Brock Purdy is a top 13 quarterback this week. And then on my outside looking in, I got CJ Stroud at 6,600. Like David said, not a lot of cheap options this week. Even Jordan Love's stock has risen a little bit. CJ Stroud's stock has risen, but if they're going to throw it a bajillion times in Houston, he's definitely
47 times last week in a game where they got blown out.
Yeah,
I don't expect much different this week against the Jaguars.
They're going to throw it a million. They're going to throw it a million times because they're going to be down. And CJ Stroud has shown that. I mean, he's decently accurate in the intermediate game. So CJ Stroud at 6,600. I like him.
Moving on from the quarterbacks, let's go with those rock toters, those running backs. I'll let you go with your list first. As we the same 2 guys, 1 and 2.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, number 1, going against the Giants this Thursday. I just think that he's just the perfect fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense. He catches the ball at the backfield. He can run between the tackles. He can run outside the tackles. He's a jack of all trades, jackknife guy. Christian McCaffrey is going to be probably number 1 all year. And then number 2, Bijan Robinson. I was a little bit skeptical about him. I loved him in college, but I'm not going to give a rookie that high praise. Well, anytime you torch my Green Bay Packers for that many yards, and I think he had a touchdown last week as well, David.
Correct. First career
Bijan Robinson. Yeah, Bijan Robinson looked like the real deal, and I think he's going to continue to be the real deal this season as they evolve that offense around him, especially against Detroit at Detroit. Which their defense just does not looks like Swiss cheese. They're going to be in the track meets all year round. Number 3, I got Tony Pollard. Number 4, Kenneth Walker. And then round out my top 5, I got Derrick Henry. Yeah, I just think that, Derrick Henry going against Cleveland. Cleveland's a little bit of a tougher defense. Teams are stacking the box on Derrick Henry, but he's still getting, the high volume usage that he needs to be a top 5 back. And then number 6, I got Travis Etienne. Number 7, Josh Jacobs. Going up against Pittsburgh, they could not stop the run until, the unfortunate hit on Nick Chubb there. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Josh Jacobs, knock on wood. But Josh Jacobs should be in for a good game against Pittsburgh at home. So I like Josh Jacobs in that matchup. Number 8, I got Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not sure if David Montgomery is going to go, so Jahmyr Gibbs' usage just might go up. Him and Reynolds.
I do not anticipate David Montgomery playing in this game. It's week 3. I don't think you want to rush him back off of was it shoulder injury or calf injury, something like that.
No, it's a thigh injury.
Yeah, so
no, I think it was
I don't think you want to rush him back. I think you want to give him some time to kind of heal up. Jahmyr Gibbs should be the bell cow for the Lions.
And you got Chris Reynolds, I think is a viable option as well, right behind Jahmyr Gibbs. So they should be all right in Detroit. And number 9, I got Raheem Mostert. I mean, yeah, he if he's looking like anything he did against the New England Patriots, especially against that Denver defense at home, I like Raheem Mostert to be a top 10 back. And then right on my top 10 is James Cook, who had an excellent game last week against Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, James Cook.
I believe he went over the century mark for the first time as a pro.
Yeah, James Cook.
I don't think he did last season.
The only thing that sucks is that it looks like on the goal line they're leaning towards Latavius Murray a little bit more.
Yeah, and Damian Harris
that
also
sucks. And Damian Harris. So that sucks. That sucks a little bit for James Cook owners. But I mean, if he's getting you 80 to 100 yards, you should be in good company there. And then on the outside looking in,
and he's involved in the passing game a little bit as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And then on the outside looking in, Kyron Williams. From the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, he had a great game. Cam Akers just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings. Kyron Williams is pretty much the 3-down back there in Los Angeles, going up against a Cincinnati defense that hasn't been impressive at all. Joe Mixon, I expect him. I mean, when is he going to bounce back? Hopefully he bounces back against his Rams defense. And then my last outside looking in is DeAndre Swift. I like DeAndre Swift, man. I mean, even though, he's going against a tough defense in Tampa Bay, I still think his use is going to be high. They're going to use him in the passing game. He looked really well. I mean, Miles Sanders did really well on that offense as well last year, and I expect DeAndre Swift.
I do expect Kenneth Gainwell to return this week.
He should eat into that a little bit.
Yeah. And because the first week when Kenneth Gainwell was healthy, he got a majority of the touches, and DeAndre Swift was basically just relegated to third down work. So we'll see. Yeah. If he returns, I don't know what his usage is going to be like.
I think DeAndre Swift looked well enough to have that to take that lead role back, but that's just me.
And then Boston Scott will probably still be out for the Philadelphia Eagles. So yeah, right. DeAndre Swift is probably still a viable fantasy option, even if Kenneth Gainwell does play.
Right. And then my cheap options in FanDuel are Jerome Ford at 5,600. And then honestly, I made these rankings yesterday. That was before the Kareem Hunt signing. I probably should have texted you to switch that out, but I still think that Jerome Ford is going to have some goal line work. And I mean, I think they'll split the carries at least this game with him and Kareem Hunt. And then Tony Jones Jr. Tony Jones Jr. from he looked really well with New Orleans last week. I mean, this past week.
Came in filled in for Jamal Williams.
Yeah,
expected to miss a few weeks. Had 2 touchdowns on the ground. I don't think the rookie that's on that team is also able to play next week. So yeah, Tony Jones Jr., this is your chance to shine. It's the only running back really on the roster you have to worry about.
Yeah. The rookie you're talking about, the rookie he's out of TCU.
Yeah.
But anyways, at 4,500, he's a slam dunk right there. I roll the dice with Tony Jones against the Packers, who haven't looked well against running backs this year. So,
from your running backs, let's talk about mine. And we got the same 2 guys at 1 and 2. I got Christian McCaffrey at 1. I got Bijan Robinson at 2, basically for the same reasons that you do. 3, I got Derrick Henry. Yeah, I think the usage is still there. I do think Tajay Spears is eating into his production just a little bit. 4, Tony Pollard. That's a game where I expect to see the Dallas Cowboys get up early. I think Tony Pollard would be the guy they used to shut the door. 5, Ramondre Stevenson. I love what New England's doing with him, using him in the passing game and on the running game. Look for him to have over 20 touches in that game against, I do not remember who they are playing. Not that it matters. Moving on, Travis Etienne, go for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 7th, Kenneth Walker the 3rd. 8, James Cook, went over the century mark. The Buffalo Bills offense is better when they have a consistent running game. Look for them to continue to give it to James Cook. 9, Raheem Mostert. The guy is just another gear when we talk about the running back. He's just one of the fastest players in the league. With those guys on the outside, cannot load up the box. Raheem Mostert should have big games ahead of him for him at the Miami Dolphins. 10, Najee Harris. And by the way, Raheem Mostert, if you can get him cheap, like if you have a player, somebody on their team that's looking to trade, and you can get Raheem Mostert, I would definitely be trying to trade for him right now. 10, Najee Harris. The consistency is still there. The work is slow is still there. I don't really love the fact that he's only averaging like 2.5 yards a carry, but he continues to be the bell cow there. So continue to roll with him. Outside looking in, Brian Robinson Jr., 2 touchdowns last week, 2 touchdowns the week before. Look for him to continue being productive, although the Buffalo Bills defense is tough. We'll see what ends up happening with that. 2, Joe Mixon. 3, Josh Jacobs. A little bit lower on both those guys. I think the Raider matchup is tough with the Steelers, so we'll see what ends up happening there. And then my sneaky dailies, Tajay Spears and Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray seems to be hawking some touchdowns from James Cook, so look for that to continue. And Tajay Spears, if he can get in the end zone, he has 10 carries in the game. He could have some value there in fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think Tajay Spears is a good change of pace back in Tennessee. Better than I expected. I do like that at 4,400. And I mean, he's sneaky in the red zone. You can do a lot of things with Tajay Spears. So.
Moving on from the Patriots are playing the Jets this week. Moving on from this, my running backs, let's talk about them pass catchers. Got them wide receivers. My number 1 is Tyreek Hill. A down week last week, but still got into the end zone. Look for him to continue being a focal point of that Dolphin offense. 2, Stephon Diggs. The corners, like if you're going to beat Washington, I think you got to beat them through the air. Stephon Diggs should be one of the main benefactors there against the Washington Commanders. 3, Justin Jefferson. Again, 2 weeks in a row, a little bit lower than him than the consensus. I think I like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill better than him this week. 4, Jamar Chase. 5, Calvin Ridley. 6, A.J. Brown. 7, CeeDee Lamb. 8, the Sun God, Amon-Ra St. Brown. 8, 9, Devontae Adams. 10, Keenan Allen. And then my outside looking in, I got Tyler Lockett, who continues to be just an excellent wide receiver, and all he does is catch touchdowns. I think he's had 1,000 yards in every year he's been a pro. Mike Evans outside looking in, he just was unguardable against Chicago. Look for him to have similar production there against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then 3, DJ Moore. I still believe in his talent. I think they'll find a way to get him more involved in the offense. I think he had over 100 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't quote me on that in week number 2. So look for him to continue being involved. And then sneaky and daily, Adam Thielen, 3,900. It looks to be the security blanket for Bryce Young there in Carolina. And then Tank Dell, who got his first career NFL touchdown last week against the Indianapolis Colts. Him and CJ Stroud seem to have a rapport between the two of them. 3,600. That's a pretty good deal right there when it comes to the wide receiver position.
Yes, absolutely. And number 1 for me, I got Justin Jefferson. Going against the Chargers, that defense is not equipped to stop Justin Jefferson. We might talk about Justin Jefferson being one of the top guys in fantasy football last week. If he didn't, if he gets that touchdown, he doesn't fumble out of bounds, all that good stuff, because he was having an excellent game last week against Philly. At number 2, I got Tyreek Hill. Number 3, I got CeeDee Lamb. 4, A.J. Brown going against Tampa Bay. I saw some success through the air with DJ Moore, with Chase Claypool for Chicago Bears. I think, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith could have the same success this week through the air. At number 5, I got Stephon Diggs. 6, Jamar Chase. I still think he's like had some type of lingering injury. Him and Joe Burrow, they have some type of lingering injury issues. They just don't look the same. I think they'll get back on track against the Rams this week, hopefully for Jamar Chase owners. At number 7, I got Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then number 8, man, Puka Nacua. If he can do that against the San Francisco 49ers, he's going to do that against any team in this league. He had 15 catches last week. The only thing that was stopping him was a touchdown. So he's my number 8 guy this week. At number 9, I got Keenan Allen. who was the top fantasy point getter, as we mentioned early in the show, going up against Minnesota. I expect that to be a track meet. And then round out my top 10, I got Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley going against Houston. That's a win-win right there. And then outside looking in, I got Devontae Adams, which I've never thought in a million years that I'd say Devontae Adams is outside the top 10. But with this quarterback not being able to get the ball down the field like I think they should, not that I think they should, like he probably wants him to. Going against Pittsburgh, I think that Devontae Adams is not a top 10 wide receiver this week. Devontae Smith, and then Deebo Samuel as well. Got to keep an eye open for that Brandon Ayuk injury status, which will open up Deebo Samuel just a little bit more against the Giants. And then my cheap options in FanDuel are Sky Moore at 5,600. Kind of turned the corner a little bit. I know he had the one catch where he kind of gained most of his yardage. But I mean, if we can get, that's all you need is that and the touchdown, and pretty much you're looking good. So I like Sky Moore at 5,600, and then Marvin Mims Jr. at 5,300. I mean, he had over 100 yards for Denver. He's looking like the deep threat that Russell Wilson needs, and he had a touchdown last week. So Marvin Mims Jr. at 5,300 is a pretty good steal in FanDuel.
From these pass catchers to the other pass catchers, we swing into the tight end position. Let you go first with your tight end rankings.
Yeah, number one, Travis Kelce going up against the Chicago Bears. Man, I expect him to have a really big game this week against Chicago at home. At number two, TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, the things have changed. Mark Andrews kind of injured. Having some lingering injury issues. I think TJ Hawkinson has a really good matchup going against the Chargers. And then at number three, I got Mark Andrews. Number four, Evan Ingram. Man, he's moved up significantly this week, especially going against Houston. I like it. I like that matchup. At number five, I got George Kittle. And then at number six, man, I got Sam Laporta from Detroit. Man, he has really, really impressed me as one of probably the best rookie tight ends. Probably the best rookie tight end this year so far.
Well, I don't really think that's a whole bunch of debate, but all right.
No, there's no debate on that. I mean, there's no debate on that. I like the way Dalton Kincaid, Luke Musgrove is probably second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then third is Dalton Kincaid, maybe, because I mean we like the way Dalton Kincaid looked the first week, and then after that he just kind of didn't look like a rookie. So
yeah, he's had 10 catches for 102 yards over 2 weeks. I mean that's pretty good production. That's 50 points. That's 5 points a week. If you're in a PPR league, that's 10 points a week. That's all you can really ask for at the tight end position.
Is that Dalton Kincaid or Sam Laporta?
No, it's Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta, yeah. And then at number 7, I got Darren Waller. I think New York Giants are going to be down a lot in that game against the San Francisco 49ers, so they're going to have to throw the ball. And Darren Waller's got to be number one target on that team. At number 8, I got Dallas Goedert. Number 9, Hunter Henry. He just looks like the number one option, in my opinion, for Mac Jones there in New England. So he's got some top 10 value. He scored a touchdown last week against the Miami Dolphins. And then round out my top 10, I got Pat Freiermuth going against Vegas. And then I'm outside looking in. I got David Njoku, Kyle Pitts, and Jake Ferguson, even though I know Luke Schoonmaker caught the touchdown last week for Dallas. And then on FanDuel, I got Mr. John Bates.
If you don't know who that is, plays on the Washington Commanders.
Washington. Yes, plays for the Washington Commanders. Logan Thomas is out with a concussion. John Bates looks to be the number one tight end. I think he had 4 catches for 45 yards, something like that last week. I'll pull the stats up right now. But yeah, John Bates is at 4,700 is absolutely cheap. He had 3 receptions for 46 yards. He had a 35-yarder late in the second quarter for them. Look for John Bates to be the number one tight end in Washington. But at 4,700, I will, I'd roll the dice on that. And hey, believe me, trust me, you better roll the dice on these tight ends that I call out because Mr. Grandson had a touchdown last week, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, Israel is like the Swami, baby.
Moving on from your tight ends, let's talk about mine. Obviously, number one and number two are exactly the same. I got Travis Kelce and TJ Hawkinson. 3, I got George Kittle. 4, Mark Andrews. I'm a little bit higher on George Kittle. I think the talent is still there. 5, Evan Ingram. 6, Darren Waller. Same sentiment. I think the Giants could be down early in that game, and they're going to have to throw their way back into the game. 7, Hunter Henry touchdown in back-to-back weeks. Look for that continue. He seems to be the red zone target for Mac Jones there in New England. 8, David Njoku. He just seems to be the security blanket for which is a bad offense in Cleveland. There for Deshaun Watson. 9, Pratt Fryermuth. Same concept, only with Pittsburgh. Copy and paste what I just said about Cleveland. Copy and paste that on Pittsburgh. 10, Luke Musgrave. Yeah, I know he was pretty quiet last week, but I think they're going to continue to get him a little bit more involved there in Green Bay. And then my outside looking in at Cole Kmet until I could see the Chicago Bears offense look like something that doesn't resemble a college team. I'm not even really sure what their offense is right now. I have to see more out of Cole Kmet. I still want to put him in my outside looking in. Kyle Pitts, again, the usage of targets just not there, as this is going to be an Atlanta Falcons team that's going to be running the football a lot. And Kyle Pitts has become more or less of an afterthought in that offense, but the talent is still there. And then 3, Sam Laporta. We just kind of talked about his production has been out the chain. For him to continue to be productive there for the Detroit Lions. And then my sneaky and daily, I got Luke Schoonmaker. Yes, caught his first NFL touchdown last week at 2,700. And then Dalton Kincaid. I know he wasn't as productive last week as at Buffalo, but they were up by so much. They didn't really need to throw the football. I imagine that this game against the Washington Commanders will be slightly more competitive. And Dalton Kincaid, 3,400. I think that's pretty good value for the tight end position, and you kind of stack up your rest of your roster when you play your daily fantasy stuff. So that's why I got Dalton Kincaid.
Like it. Yeah, no, Dalton Kincaid, man. You still got Dawson Knox in that offense. It's kind of taking those targets away from Dalton Kincaid. I thought that Meyer from Las Vegas would be, a little better. I mean, a little better than what he was. But I think the top 3 guys are, Laporta, Musgrove, and Dalton Kincaid this year. So from rookie standpoint, from tight end. So.
And then from the tight end position, let's talk about them defenses. And our first 3 defenses are literally the exact same. I got the Dallas Cowboys going up against the Arizona Cardinals. I got the San Francisco 49ers. That defense is just loaded. 3, the New England Patriots going up against the Zach Wilson-led Jets. 4, Jaguars going up against the Houston Texans. 5, Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense just continues to create turnovers. They were really good against the Cleveland Browns. Solid matchup for them here as well, going against the Las Vegas Raiders. Really don't know what the offense is going to look like there for Las Vegas. And then my outside looking in, I got the Chiefs going against the Chicago Bears. Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who could come back down to earth in this game. And then I got the Buffalo Bills. I think that they may expose Sam Howell a little bit during this game. And then my Treep and Daily at 2,900 for the Buffalo Bills going up against the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, no, I like those Buffalo Bills against the Commanders. I mean, that's cheap on DraftKings for a team, and they're pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. Sam Howell, I mean, he just looked like, when he looks to be, their guy. Yeah. So I mean, in Buffalo, hasn't, the first week they looked a little suspect. I don't know if that's due to like starters not playing, but the second week against Vegas, the defense looked like they were going on all cylinders. So we'll see this week against Washington. But I do like Buffalo to get, maybe get a turnover or something like that this week, which would definitely put them in the top 5. My number 1, like David said, the Cowboys, man, they're probably the best defense in the league, and it gets easy for them going against Arizona and Josh Dobbs. Even though Josh Dobbs played his butt off last week, had a couple rushing touchdowns. Dobbs, man, he really shocked me, but he's not going to shock me this week because the Dallas Cowboys are going to really make it life hard for him. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers going against the Giants. No Saquon Barkley. I expect them to be down a lot in that game. Number 3, the Patriots. The Jets quarterback situation is putrid. And number 4, I got the Kansas City Chiefs going against the Bears. Round on my top 5, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Going against Tampa Bay. We're all hoping that Baker Mayfield is going to come down to earth. So we'll see. Maybe this might be the game. I'm still going to put him down as a top 5 fantasy defense this week. So we'll see. And then I'm outside looking in. I got the Ravens, Steelers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars going against the Houston Texans and a rookie in CJ Stroud. I expect them to be almost top 8 worthy. And then my cheap option in FanDuel is the Seattle Seahawks going against Carolina. That offense didn't look good at all. Bryce Young, just, I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know. I honestly think that team is just is primed to probably get a number 1 overall pick or a top 3 pick next year.
I mean, but the pick's going to the Bears, so that's tough.
Yeah, that'll be right. It's gonna be tough. The Bears are looking good, man. I swear. Keep on losing, Carolina, for these Bears fans, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll end up taking another quarterback. Moving on.
Oh no, come on, man. No, don't disrespect Justin Fields like that. Come on.
Before we get up out of here, we're gonna wrap up the show. And what we do every single week, we say who's gonna be the highest scorer in fantasy this week, and who do you got as your highest scorer in fantasy this week?
Whoo, man, you know what? The highest scorer in fantasy this week is going to be Justin Jefferson against the Los Angeles Chargers. I expect Justin Jefferson to have 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, maybe even some rushing yards. But I think Justin Jefferson is going to have over 10 catches, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's going to break the speedometer reader on the fantasy. He's going to break the fantasy meter this weekend. So watch out.
I'll go Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be a focal point of whatever San Francisco ends up doing against the New York Giants. I think Chris McCaffrey will have a big game, and I think he could even throw a touchdown in this game. So look for him to be involved in all the facets of the offenses. He's basically the offense for the San Francisco 49ers. Chris McCaffrey.
That would be insane. That would be insane if he threw a touchdown.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first one he threw. But I'm with David Huffman. Right there is my co-host, Mr. Israel Rivera. Thank you very much for checking us out here at Prime Sports World. This has been our fantasy rankings for week number 3. Let us know down in the comment section what you think about them. Let you know if we think we're too high or too low on anybody here on the list. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Please like, share, and subscribe. And Izzy, what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
Man, we bring that heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing the heat, baby.
And tomorrow, look for College Football Showdown. We have the time has not been determined for when that show will start, but keep an eye out for that content, as that show will be on Thursday instead of its normal Friday this week. So keep an eye out. You guys all have a good time and enjoy football this weekend. Peace out, brother.
Absolutely. Go Notre Dame, baby.